At this time of the year, it's important to remember those less fortunate than us. People like Kamui Kobayashi, Heikki Kovalainen, and everyone at the HRT team. Please, give as much as you can, and remember, F1 is for life, and not just until the money runs out.
Hello and welcome to the Gareth Jones on Speed Speedmas special. I'm Gareth, he's Richard.
Hello.
And he's Zog.
Hello.
And over there somewhere is Violet. Are you sort of with us, V? No change there. We thought we'd call it the Speedmas special because we don't know when you're listening to this. You may be listening to it before Christmas or after Christmas or before New Year or after New Year. So I think as a good generic term, Speedmas.
Has that
Winter solstice
Mayan end of the world thing happened yet?
Hasn't happened yet and never will.
But, there you go.
But if you're enough of a fool to go for those kind of stories, it's the 21st.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah,
right.
which is a couple of days from when we're recording this show.
So if you are listening to this after the 21st,
it hasn't.
Told you so.
Yeah, there you go.
If it's after the 21st and you haven't listened to this because the world has ended, that's very unlikely.
Don't we look a bit stupid? Embarrassing.
Well, anyone can make a mistake.
Now, there will be some seasonal related shenanigans, so let's leave it at that a little bit later in the show. But before we get to that, I think we'll dispense with the stuff that's been going on in the end of the 2012 F1 season. The first one is that Romain Grosjean has got another season at Lotus. Do we applaud that, Richard?
I do, because I think there's ability there.
Yeah.
And I think he's an interesting driver from the point of view of, for example, three blokes meeting up every so often and talking some codswallop about Formula One.
He gives us something to talk about.
For example, a lanky northern man who writes a stupid website of made-up stuff, sometimes about Formula One. Hello. Again, he's an endless source of material with his zany, crashing antics. But I do think there's possibly some raw talent there. He can be quick when he wants to.
He is quick, Zog, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's unquestionably quick, and if he can,
he's erratic.
If he can just polish off those rough edges, it just sharpen his act up.
Hang on, you didn't say erotic, did you?
No, I didn't. I think he looks sort of like a rural simpleton. In a strange kind of way. He's slightly ruddy-cheeked.
Sideshow Barbie used to look like before he had his haircut.
Yeah.
He really did.
As a matter of interest...
He deserves another chance, doesn't he?
I
certainly
think so.
deserves
He's interesting
to show
because he does
yeah.
amusingly erratic, not erotic things. He might do amusingly erotic things, we just haven't seen them yet. But he get the right kind of backstreet shop in
And he
Paris.
did win the race of champions.
He did, and didn't they confirm him just after that?
Yeah.
So, I'm sure they weren't waiting to see where
Who was he
got.
racing against? Was it somebody who was also in the frame to get that Lotus seat? Because now, dance! You will dance for my amusement, and the winner will get the seat, and the loser will die.
I just thought
Roman Emperor
it would have looked terribly embarrassing if they announced they were going to drop him for next year.
Just
as
he
won the
vanquished everyone in the Race of Champions, yeah.
So good news for Grosjean, but not so good news for Kamui Kobayashi.
Boo, hiss.
Yeah, it's a shame to see him go.
Again, another erratic genius. Not erotic.
Again,
maybe.
Be clear.
It depends. I don't know. I don't.
Well, those Japanese, they like all that, don't they?
He gave us one.
That?
He gave us one of the great moments of the year, though, didn't he? With that podium in Japan. That was one of the high points of the season. So,
brilliant.
Real shame he's not going to be back next year.
Well, I've said for a while he's one of my favourites, if not my favourite driver in F1, because he was so entertaining. Not because he was always successful. Some of his lunges shouldn't have come off, but they did sort of get away with them.
He's an optimist.
And that's
certainly.
entertainment for the sport. The sense of risk, the fact that he may or may not make it, is far more exciting. You know, jugglers. You ever go and see a juggler? You know, a good juggler, a street juggler, they bear with me on this. You know, they turn up and they go, I'm going to juggle 3 balls. Ooh, and you go, yeah, 3 balls. I can juggle 3 balls. And they go, I'm going to juggle 5 balls. They go, ooh, juggle 5 balls. Yeah, fair enough. That's a bit hard. Then he goes, I'm now going to juggle 7 balls. And you go, hey, really, come on, now I can juggle. And he gets his 7 balls, and he starts to juggle, and he'll drop one. On purpose.
Yes.
To make it look even more difficult than it is. But that is part of the story arc, you know, and it's the same with Kobayashi.
That's
Kidology.
Kidology,
Some people would call
there's something,
it.
because there's that thing in Magic with the prestige.
Yes.
I learned that from
Yeah.
a film called The Prestige.
Yes. Yeah.
But I gather that's how it works. Yes, but I'm not sure that Kamui Kobayashi was deliberately losing control of the car to
True
make people
enough.
think that
No.
he can't do it. I think what was happening was he was just losing control of the car. But
The sense of jeopardy.
for every time that he lost control of the car, there's probably another time when he didn't lose control of the car, even though you thought he was going to.
Yeah, pulled off a great move, or just gave you another
And
moment that you remembered from that race.
His ballsiness and his, as you say, his willingness to take risks is something that it would be nice if a few other drivers had that.
And did you hear that he raised €8 million, of which I think his fan base came up with $1 million, didn't they?
I was going to say, yeah, I think
Via a pledging website.
$1 million was the figure I
Yeah.
had in mind.
Well, I'll
when
be
it
honest,
comes
I
from-
won €8 million on the Euro lottery. And I didn't want it to change me, so I just gave it all to Kamui Kobayashi.
Money well spent.
Well, imagine
apparently
that.
not, it seems. But
I've often thought that. Imagine if you won, for sake of argument, a sort of $1 million and a bit pounds on the lottery.
Okay,
the
that's
national
what it is.
lottery.
Yeah, so what if...
Now,
Okay.
you could do many things with that money. This is going to sound preposterous, but I don't think that is a totally life-changing amount of money in 2012, 2013, because... actually, it will just buy you, depending on where you live in the country, but it'll just buy you a very nice house, but not a ridiculous palace, because, Bernie Eccleston-style
doesn't
houses
buy you
in
an insane
Kensington
lifestyle.
are 30, 40 million pounds. So you've
No,
got $1 million
nice to
quid.
have, but
You wouldn't complain, would you?
No,
You
no,
just go,
no, no.
you thought,
You
hang on a
could-
minute,
you
now
could
what do
buy
I do?
Merthyr Tydfil for that kind of money.
I think I'd keep the receipt just in case. And I've been to Merthyr, so I know what I'm talking about. Sorry, Merthyr. But as I said about Boreham Wood the other week on the show, your town is awful. Actually, there's a nice bit near the Merthyr's. There's some anyway.
Oh, Merthyr's
there's some
yeah,
lovely
such a
bits around there,
facetious, but cheap
we-
in places.
We digress.
Yeah,
What I was going to say,
definitely
we're
digress.
really
You
digressing.
had
There is
a
a
point.
point to this. If you had £1 million, now you're thinking,
Yeah.
okay, I can buy a nice house, but then I've got nothing left, or I'll spend £750,000 on just a nice, normal house in a nice place, and I will then sort of have 250 grand and buy a few cars and things like that. But nothing crazy. Don't go silly, and then have a nice holiday and make sure your kids are looked after and all these things. Or just go and buy a Bugatti Veyron and drive it about for a bit and see what happens.
I like the way
Now,
you think.
you'd be a brave man to do this.
Yeah.
Because every time it needs a service, you'd be spending sort of 25 grand or something like that.
Yeah,
There'd
you
come a
do
point
have
where
to
the
put a
Veyron would-
fair bit in
But
the budget.
imagine, I think it's the kind of thing that Kamui Kobayashi, if he was actually a man who worked in Tesco and lived in Sheffield, would do. Because it's ballsy. It's like, I
see
could
what- yeah, no,
buy all my
yeah.
friends
I think you could be
holidays,
right.
we'll all go to the Bahamas or something like that, and then I'll come back and I'll buy a really nice 5-bedroom house, and I'll
Settle
kind of-
down there and-
yeah.
yeah.
And I get a big telly
Nest.
and I'll be happy and I'll be cool. But then my $1 million kind of gone. Or buy a Bugatti Veyron. Still
haven't
live in
been
the
there.
house you've always lived in. Still have all your mates. But they'll go, hey Dave, where's Veyron? Hang on, I'll go and get it. Wait a minute. Yeah, what do you think of that? V16, isn't it? It's grand. 4 turbos. It's got 11 radiators and that. It's more than my bloody house has got in it. It's grand.
I didn't realise Kobayashi had a Sheffield accent.
That wasn't really a very good Sheffield accent, was it?
I don't know. Sheffield.
Good eat, mate.
Sheffield, slightly drawn out. Sheffield. All right, guys, I had a mate from Sheffield.
Sheffield.
He was called Jed. He was a roadie. He worked for us, and he stopped working for us, and he came back to us after a while. And when he came back, it was the return of the Jed.
Aye.
It really was. It really was. So, the truth. So we
Use force, mate.
used it force. So we
No,
went.
don't. No. Oh, don't. This is a source of constant outrage with my colleague at Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson, who is a Yorkshireman, as you might know.
Yeah.
But that Yorkshire people do not say t for the word the. The word the in Yorkshire is, in fact, invisible.
Yeah,
You
don't
never say
it.
that. T is two.
Oh,
You're going
down
to
road.
shop. Yeah, down road.
Right.
You go, but the word the is substituted by a movement of the head, if anything.
Well, it's trouble at mill, not trouble at mill.
Yeah, exactly.
trouble
Trouble
at
at mill, but then it's trouble at and head movement mill. But if you go into shops, that's where your t comes from, and it's a very common mistake. People think that the band The were called t in Yorkshire, whereas actually they were
Well, that's
called.
a race.
Yeah, they were called Space, weren't
But
they?
we were
Yeah,
all
yeah.
doing the head movement.
Yeah, you have to see that. It's a shame there's an
We
audio podcast.
digress.
So, yes, where were we? Kobayashi.
Actually, what's happening there?
Well, can we welcome him
got-
to Toyota's Le Mans squad next year, maybe?
I thought you were going to say, "Can we welcome him to the show?"
Oh,
'Cause that-
hello!
imagine
Yeah, and waiting in the wing.
We'll all do a rota. We'll all take a show off and have Kobayashi knocking the microphone over.
And we wave a fond farewell to the great walrus of Formula One. Norbert Haug's leaving as well, isn't he? After 19 years at the head of Mercedes Motorsports division. Yeah. Oh, I'll miss the Norb. He was nice.
He's got a bit of a fixture.
A giant of the sport in every sense, I think.
Have you seen a picture of his wife?
Mrs. Haug?
Or possibly girlfriend.
Does she look like him?
Not.
Do you know what? She doesn't.
Oh.
And I do not know what first attracted her to the millionaire Norbert Haug.
Oh, really?
I'd imagine it's his intense motorsport engineering knowledge.
Oh, yes. She an attractive
like a nice
woman,
chap,
is she?
though, you know, to be
You're
fair.
all right. Yeah, you're all right. Yeah, you know.
Young,
you're all right.
young, is she?
I imagine she might be, a couple of years. Yeah. No, not sorry, years. I mean, decades younger than him. And, it's not widely seen, but I saw a picture of them together. She's very nice. But then, he's a handsome man, if you like, a burly elder gentleman.
A gravelly voice. I'll miss him because he was quite good to do an impression of on the programme. He was quite a distinctive voice, this gravelly German accent. We need people with good comedy accents.
Well, maybe they'll replace it with somebody else with an easily characteristic
Mercedes have
accent.
surprised everyone by announcing that Norbert Haug's replacement is Joe Pasquale.
Although I did notice
that's right. Yeah,
having been following...
Very good.
Oh, well, Joe Pasquale is just a normal human breathing helium. That's all he is, isn't it, Joe Pasquale? I've had an accident. Who cares? Joe Pasquale, that's who cares.
Do you know that advert? You don't know that advert, yeah. Joe Pasquale does the voice for a car.
He does, yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Sorry, we went off topic.
Well, it's either Brian Blessed and Joe Pasquale, or it's people doing impressions of Joe Pasquale and Brian Blessed.
Hey, that's just reminded me of something. I had an extraordinary email this week from an insurance company. Well, it wasn't. It's from a marketing agency to represent them. I get a lot of these days for some reason. They send out these generic emails to sort of blogs online, and they want to plant stories in the blogs promoting their thing. And this email, you always look at them and you go, well, you haven't ever seen my website. This is just generic and it's rubbish. But I find it patronising because they put, hey, dear Sniff at the top, and then love your blog,
as if they've
actually read it. And I just, that's quite insulting. But this one was particularly good because if you've ever seen Sniff Petrol, you know that it's entirely made up and nonsense. And this said, we think your website will be the perfect way to keep people up to date with developments in the car insurance world.
They really
I said, we will supply the stories, but written in a style that will fit in with your blog perfectly. And I was thinking, what, you mean as in made up facts? So there we go. If you're listening, car insurance people, bugger off.
Try better next time.
Hello, Evil Towers. The man of the house speaking.
Ecclestone, it's Claus.
Santa, how are you?
Not happy, Bernard. Those F1 helper elves you sent me.
Ah, yes. The fastest elves in the world. How are they getting on?
Not good, Bernard. Not good.
Really? But what about romance?
He's here!
Joyeux Noël, mes enfants!
Daddy, why is there a sleigh sticking out of next door's shed?
7 times that happened, Bernie. 7 times.
Yes, well, he's still learning. Tell me, how did Maldonado get on?
Oh, children.
My presents are all broken.
Oh dear. See, I heard he got it right.
Once. Just once. It's not good enough, Bernie.
Yes. Well, what about Hamilton? He's very good.
Yes, he was very good, until he suddenly decided to leave me for another present delivery company.
Oi, mate, what are you doing?
Nothing, ma'am.
You're pushing a little card through my door saying you tried to deliver my parcel, rather than actually trying to deliver my parcel.
Royal Mail policy, innit, dude?
Well, it's not... Hey, wait a minute. You Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, whatevs.
Relax, Relax, Santa. He'll be back when he realises their sleighs aren't as good as your sleighs, even if they have the same engine.
I can't wait that long. I need you to send me one of your F1 boys with experience.
Don't worry, my favourite tubby bearded man who isn't Ross Brawn. I've got someone on the way right now.
Ho, ho, ho!
Are you Father Christmas?
No, see, I'm like Father Christmas, but better. See, I once raced against Father Christmas, son. I wiped the floor with him, so I did. I was out in Japan a long time ago, a race series there, but I tell you what, people were saying, who's that guy out there who's so amazing? And then I came in and they were like, oh, it's you, you're really great. And I was like, I know. I went around him on the outside, so I did. I could still be in the seasonal present delivery game if I wanted to, but see, I'm happy owning lots of property in Miami and that.
Daddy, there's a strange Irish man in the house.
Sandra, you had nothing on me,
And he
right?
won't
I look
stop
better in red
talking
too, you
about
see?
himself.
Merry bullshitmas!
And then giving away all the presents to Michael Schumacher.
Merry Speedmas from Sniff Petrol and Gareth Jones on Speed!
This being the final Gareth Jones on Speed for 2012, indeed the final episode of Season 8.
Can we start calling them series rather than seasons?
Oh, well, I call it season because it relates to the motorsport season, you see.
I like seasons. It's like being Doctor Who, or it's like
No, it's not, because Doctor Who's a British series, so I believe it should be called a series.
It's not a
If you're an
season,
American TV show or whatever, season is fine because it's a convention there. I've never understood it because to me a season is it's a quarter of the year.
So we're looking forward to the 2013 Formula One race series.
Well, no,
because we're British.
I know, because that's
No,
funny.
no, no, no,
That's
no, no,
exactly the way round. I hadn't thought about that.
We still haven't actually introduced what I'm trying to say, which is that we should look back at 2012 and pick some of our highlights and lowlights. We'll start with someone sensible, shall we? Richard, that's not you. So,
I looked at my shoes then, instinctively, like I was at school.
Trying to avoid the Masters
I
game.
knew I was being told off a bit. Go on, so.
Highlights of the year.
You got a favourite car of the year?
Okay, I've got two. I've got one that I haven't driven and one that I drove. So there's the one that from personal experience was my car of the year, and one on other grounds, I think. So secondly, overall, I think I've got to say the Land Rover Evoque really surprised me. They managed to reinvent that particular vehicle in a new format remarkably well, I think, and I didn't expect to like it anything like as much as I did. I think they've done a brilliant job of that. It's not as reliable as it should be, I gather. Is that a fair comment?
I've not heard anything terrible about that particularly, but then in the
of
general scheme of things from Land Rover, I mean,
it's pretty not
the
bad,
bar
is
is
it?
low when it comes to,
But that aside,
Range Rovers.
But
that aside, I thought that it did genuinely kind of surprise me.
Not only are you surprised that you like that car more than you do, I think we are as well, because we know you're not the greatest
I'm not
fan
the biggest fan of 4x4s and off-roaders generally.
You've chosen that over, I don't know, what's been small and light and great, or Porsche this year.
Well, see, the thing is, If I could have managed to shoehorn the 918 in there, I would undoubtedly have done it. But I couldn't think of any way that I could claim that was in any way this year's model. Honourable mention for the Vauxhall Ampera, no question.
Yeah.
But on the basis of personal experience, I've got to go for the Mercedes-AMG C63 Black Series Coupe, which was just stunning.
Which not only does Dog like, but drove at great velocity around Goodwood.
Well, which is the experience that totally sold me on it. It was such a confidence-inspiring, swift and magnificent vehicle. And looks the part too.
And what a noise.
And what a noise. Yeah, so that's my car of the year, no question. Other highlights, race of the year, got to be Abu Dhabi. Kimi won it.
Andy knew what he was doing.
To see him coming back at that style. Yeah, Annie let us know about it.
Yeah,
gave us some great team radio moments. And there was action all the way. It's just a shame that Kimi won that race, partly due to McLaren's hardware letting down their magnificent software in the form of Lewis Hamilton again. Because, for all the fact that Vettel won the championship, Alonso and Lewis were the two drivers of the year. So that was the race of the year for me. Disappointment of the year, Paul di Resta. I'd wanted him to do better and expected him to do better, really, at Force India. So Paul di Resta at Force India, also not making it to Le Mans this year. Sorry, that was a long story, but mostly my fault. But things happen. So I'm going to try and make sure I'm there next year, but it's a real shame not to make it this year. Other highlight of the year, as we all know, music is a very important part of the driving experience. I think we all like to have our appropriate driving music. And, best new driving tune of the year for me was Teenage Gay by DJs from Mars, the mashup of Enola Gay and Katy Perry's Teenage Dream.
Not heard.
Have you not heard it?
I did just hear a thing go off over there.
Yeah, I heard. Was that you?
An alarm telling me it was somebody's birthday.
Whose birthday?
Why?
Jesus'
is that important now?
birthday.
Does that matter?
Jesus' birthday in 7
He must be so fed up because he has his birthday on Christmas Day. He only gets
You
one set
lose
of
out on the
presents.
presents.
You
Yeah.
do,
I'll tell you
yeah,
what,
go-
who'd be Jesus?
honestly.
Robert Powell.
Plus, there's the whole
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
crucifixion thing and all that, dying for not
No, you're
sin.
gonna
It's a,
come back
it's a
from that.
bitch, I
You'll be
tell
fine.
you. After
So we got a
this show,
tune?
we've got to play this tune because
Okay.
you
Driving
will
song.
like this tune.
Okay.
Richard, have you got a highlight, a low light?
Highlights and lowlights. Really quickly, I think I agree with Zog about F1 highlight, probably the Abu Dhabi race, not just for the result per se, but for Kimi Raikkonen giving us some comedy gold and the catchphrase of the season. There's some other wonderful things happening in Formula One. There were some slightly dismal things, but generally
It was
a
a good
good
season,
a
yeah.
very good season, actually. But I was going to talk about favourite cars, because I've got a few. That Toyota GT86 I thought was excellent, but in some ways a bit of a letdown, in as much as
More grip than power.
I drove it mostly in the wet when the opposite is true.
Okay.
And I found it hilarious in that respect, but I think in other ways it feels like a car from 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I think they
In a
started
good or bad
designing
way, though?
in a slightly bad way. It feels old-fashioned and underdone, but only in ways that really you could overlook every time it was slightly wet out and you just were going everywhere with the proverbial
sideways.
dab of Oppo on. Yeah, even with the traction control left on, it will step out a little bit in a cheeky way where you sort of think, hey, you just it's, every roundabout becomes
It's got Prius
hilarious.
tyres, the same
Yeah,
spec
they're very,
tyres as on the Prius.
they're
on
quite
the-
thin
on
and
the- yeah.
quite hard.
Skinny
compound.
tyres.
So it's fine. Anyway, honourable mention to that, because I think it was a very nice car to drive. It's not the kind of car I'd recommend to someone who wasn't completely committed to cars, but then I don't think anyone who wasn't would buy it anyway. Because I just think it felt underdone and a bit half-assed in other ways. But
They can buy a Vauxhall Corsa. if they want
Exactly.
It's an
Well,
enthusiast
if they really
car,
want
it's not
half-assed,
a
they can
mass
buy a
market.
Corsa, yeah. Yeah, I think it's an enthusiast car, which is fair enough, and I think enthusiasts would put up with stuff. The Impreza, in its heyday, did very well amongst enthusiasts. Didn't care the interior plastics were a bit crummy and stuff. In fact, speaking of which, just as an aside, they've announced the Impreza is no more in the UK as of next year.
No.
Yeah, that's it. That's how far the mighty have fallen. That once cult hero has become so lost that it's gone. They're not going to bother selling it. They're still going to make it, but just not sell it in Britain. It's not worth their while.
They can't sell that.
They can't sell it in Britain because no one wants it anymore. Shame. We digress. Honourable mentions to Toyota. Another very, very honourable mention to the Suzuki Swift Sport, which I just thought, and I think I've talked about this on the show before, but an absolutely terrific little car. Brilliant hot hatchback. I loved the old one, but this one just takes all of the bits about the old one that weren't quite right. A little bit niggling. Stupid things like it having a massive key fob for no apparent reason. The key fob's now really small, fits in your trouser pocket without making them fall down. And it used to have to run on super unleaded. It doesn't anymore. It'll work fine on normal. 6-speed box, calm on the motorway. Wonderful little car. 13.5 grand. I cannot think of a better way to spend that, considering that sort of mid-range Fiesta money. It's great. If you need a small car and
it's a crap
you can
out,
afford to insure it, it's great. But my absolute favourite car of the year is the one, I know it sounds like I have a very limited attention span because it's the one that I've actually been driving around just this week, but as a late entry in the 2012 My Favourite Car, BMW M135i. It's another hot hatchback, technically, but it is everything that I think people think they want from a BMW, or that we do, because we kind of have fond memories of E30s and things like that. Small car, straight six engine, fairly light, compact, just goes about its business.
I remember when the 1 Series first came out, you remarked that it was one of the ugliest cars you could design.
This is the new one, and it's still not a looker. It has a face like a smacked puppy, but don't smack your puppies, by the way, people. I just cruelty to
Or
animals.
don't give your puppy smack.
Yeah, well,
puppies for life, not for
it really
smacking.
calms them down. But it is to drive, and this is the thing. I think the GT86 got a lot of coverage as the car driver's choice because you don't have to worry about the interior plastics being good because it's all about the drive. The Beamer feels like a proper grown-up car in every way. It starts at like just under 30 grand. I think the one I've been driving is 32 because it's got the automatic gearbox on it, which is mega. And it's a 5-door. Good. Get more practicality. More of a driver's car.
He's got a dog.
I can always tell how much I absolutely love a car that I've just borrowed, or how much I then go on the internet and try and find how much second-hand ones are going for. In the vague hope that I can afford one.
Yeah.
And with this BMW, I've spent all day intermittently checking like piston heads and Auto Trader and going, oh God, I hope they start going under 20 grand soon, or ideally under £700.
You really want one?
I really, honestly, genuinely, I think it's just one of the most sorted, enjoyable cars. It's not perfect, but perfect cars are boring. It's perfect in all the ways it needs to be perfect. It has an incredible amount of grunt. It handles really nicely. It has a great driving position. It's a class act all round. And actually, you could have one for pretty much the same price as a spec'd up GT86 or a spec'd up Golf GTI.
Which would
now
you
put
have
that
then?
in perspective.
Yeah.
It makes a Golf GTI, which is a great car. It makes a Golf GTI seem incredibly boring.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Which would you have then? The 130?
Every time. I'd have the 135. See, the thing is, also this year, I drove a Ferrari 458, which we talked about on the programme before. Now, actually, technically, that's the best car I drove all year. But that was like going on a date with Angelina Jolie. Yeah, you'd have a fun time. You'd go on a private jet. You'd end up in Vegas and you'd be drinking Cristal. But actually, you think, this isn't me. This isn't me at all. I'm living an out-of-body experience. The 135 felt like the kind of car that I could conceivably stretched to afford one day.
Okay, yeah, I see
and
where you're going.
it
Real
fits my
world
life.
pleasure.
Compact, it's got room in it. I had to give a couple of people a lift today and they could all get in there. You know, I hate to sound boring about it, but the truth is we buy cars because we need them to be functional to some degree, unless you have a vast fleet of them. And this BMW, in the same way that a Golf GTI would, is a practical car that can also give you a great deal of pleasure. And for that reason, it is like, the date with Angelina Jolie would be hilarious, I'm sure, but I'd be terrified
if we need to
and depressed and scared and all these things. And the BMW felt like that's the girl that became my wife.
I was about to say exactly that she is actually Mrs. Petrol, isn't she? The 135, you know. Practical, satisfying, and...
Hang on a minute, how do you know my wife?
But yeah, you know the Ferrari has to go back at the end of the day, whereas you can live with the BMW.
When you borrow cars in that position, I'm very lucky to do that, and you sort of drive cars that you can't possibly afford. It feels like the BMW is just within reach. It's within reach, it's okay. It's not an absurd pipe dream.
Have you got...
Although obviously if I win the lottery, I'm buying that Veyron.
Again, have you got a disappointment of the year? Very briefly.
I haven't thought of one, but if we're still talking cars, I was going to say that Citroen DS5 we talked about in the last show still rankles because it should be great. And it's not. Can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry, I have rambled on, but best drive of the year was in none of my favourite cars of the year. They all gave me great drives, but still, the drive that lives on in the memory from this year, I mentioned it on the programme before, was when I had a Land Rover Defender and I was driving through the Brecon Beacons on a beautiful sunny May evening with the windows down and the radio on, and just this glorious sunlit valley opened up ahead of me, and I was in a Land Rover Defender.
In Wales.
The Defender is in so many ways utterly hopeless, but it's also utterly lovable, and its flaws are what make it glorious at the same time. And sometimes also it's only part of the car, it's also the circumstance that makes for a great drive, and that was mine. But that's very personal to me.
Well, in the 25 seconds left
God,
we've got for this
I'm
piece
so
here, I will tell you about my 12 favourite things, but I'll just mention the one, shall I?
Are they the numbers 1 to 12? In which case,
we haven't even done hopes for the year. We haven't. But,
no, we haven't. No, we'll do that at the end.
Okay,
actually, we can save that. We'll save that. My car of the year is the Nissan Delta Wing, which I think brought an aspect to motorsport this year, which even Formula One failed to do, and that is to pull new people to a race who'd never been interested before because they'd heard about this crazy, freaky car. A lot of people turned up for Le Mans who were fans of this car who didn't know anything about Le Mans, and so it was good for Le Mans, and it was a different way to crack a nut. Ben Bowlby, who designed it, fantastic. He's already working on the second generation version. I can't wait to see that. That's very exciting.
Yeah, and it worked remarkably well despite being fairly out there in terms of racing machinery that you actually put out there and race competitively with existing machinery. So, yeah.
The only disappointment, and I shouldn't be disappointed because it's a function of the car's original brief, you know, to build a car that would compete with the LMP2s and in some ways the LMP1 cars with half the mass, half the power, half the engine cylinders and everything. It had that lovely little 1.6 litre Nissan turbocharged engine. But the only disappointment is that, well, that little engine really doesn't make a fantastic noise. And if that car went down Le Mans making a beautiful noise, it would be...
If it sounded like the Corvettes, you'd be happy.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
A Corvette Delta Wing crossover. Now, I like the way you're thinking. Very good. Okay, car of the year is the Nissan Delta Wing. Disappointment of the year, for me, very briefly, because I think you should do one. Lewis going to Mercedes, because
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be as well served at Mercedes as he was at McLaren Mercedes. I really believe that. So we may have missed an opportunity to see Lewis winning a championship. Certainly next year. Maybe in 2 years it'll be different, but next year, it's disappointing. Car moment of the year is my third thing. For me, the best car journey trip moment I had in the whole year was driving to the Belgian Grand Prix in a Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Roadster with the roof off in a convoy with 9 great proper car journalists and me. There was a Black Series in that convoy. I drove that for a while on the road. That was disappointing on the road because it was so planted because of that rear wing and the front aerodynamics. It just sat there. It wasn't dramatic. It was like, what do you want? The quicker you went, the more stable it became. But the Roadster with the roof off, I felt like, Angelina Jolie's moment. That was it for me. But I was actually Brad Pitt in that car. It was brilliant.
He looks like a tramp in those perfumes. So it's nothing to aspire to, apart from the Jolie bit.
And I'll save my hopes for the future.
What?
For later on.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Happy Speedmas from Gareth Jones on Speed! Hooray!
Hello, I'm Bernie Eccleston, and what I don't want for Christmas is the HRT team, which is why I've told them to go away.
Hi, I'm Danny Bahar, Lifestyle Experience Premium Aspirational. What I would like for a Christmas Day is 5 solid gold statues of myself, which I will announce all at the same time. What am I saying? I have already had these built. I just need to claim them back on my expenses. Hey, as I used to say in Ethel when I worked there, oh bugger.
Hello, I'm Tony Fernandez, and what I want for Christmas is Christmas itself, which is why I've bought the entire thing for 483 squillenty dollar pounds. I own you, your turkey, and your family argument about sprouts.
Hello, I'm Jensen Button, and I don't want anything for Christmas this year because I already got the best gift in the world. Finally, a teammate I can beat. Brilliant! Jesse, if you're listening, ignore that bit about not wanting anything for Christmas. Get me a razor. The old one broke 5 years ago. I thought I dropped enough hints, but clearly not, eh, my lover?
Hi, I'm Felipe Massa, and what I would like for Christmas is for my gearbox not to break next year, unless I am told that it is broken. Then that is fine.
Felipe, why authority do?
No, I'm Fernando. Here, have all my presents.
Hello, I'm Patrick Head. Merry Easter. What? It's what? But I've just spent £4,000 on eggs. Oh, bloody hell!
Anything that happens more than once on Gareth Jones on Speed becomes a tradition. And I think it was last year we had the first ever Dave Stebbings Christmas Gareth Jones on Speed quiz. Dave Stebbings, who you quite rightly describe as our Uber listener.
No, ultra listener.
Sorry, ultra listener.
Unless he is German. Is Stebbings a German name?
I'm not sure, but the
Doesn't
first question of this quiz
like
is actually German, so I think he should be an Uber listener.
Well, acting on behalf
He is.
of Dave Stebbings, who's created this Christmas quiz for us, Violet Berlin, our quiz master. We've got no idea what this quiz is. It's all been kept proper hush-hush.
That's right, Dave Stebbings sends me a locked document with a secret password.
This is brilliant.
You really did.
Super secure.
So this quiz is kind of fresh to me as well, but I'll do my best to get the questions right. I think that last year I decided instead of pitting you all against each other, that I would pit you all against Dave Stebbings.
And I think he won.
So, yeah, I think he did
Yes,
win.
but I think with the steward's inquiry, because it seemed to me that Dave Stebbings had gone to the trouble and expense of making an entire BBC detective drama just so he could write a question about it that we wouldn't be able to answer.
But now is your opportunity to get even.
Well, is it? Because it seems to me that Stebbings holds all the password-protected cards on this one.
So tell us, Violet, what is the quiz? What happens?
Well, it is a blankety-blank sort of quiz.
The Dave Stebbings Car Quotes Quiz.
He gives a series of quotes with blank words, and you have to guess what's missing from the quote, but also what car it is referring to, the quote is referring to.
So they're all car-related quotes, car and motorsport-related quotes. We fill in the missing words.
Yes, and tell me what the car is.
Okay.
And he's very kindly given me some clues to help me guide you
excellent.
through this. Let's start off with the German one, as mentioned. The quote is, "In England, nähen Sie..."
Hang on.
Did you understand what just happened there?
Okay, in England, they something. What's Nayan?
Clue.
Nayan.
Clue.
Nayan.
A classic 80s British advert.
Oh, the Rover 800 Fastback.
Whoa.
Is the car British Architect?
Oh, really?
I don't remember the rest of the dialogue because I don't speak German, but it was all in German. But it just ended with impressive Unbildinger, but in German, rather than just man doing a stupid impression of German. And then the final line was British Architect.
Well, that's
suddenly
extra.
very impressed by your
Sorry, I
English.
just
Yeah.
I searched forward like a Rover 800
Do I get points for the Munich setting for this advert, if I remember right?
Was it Munich though?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then.
Because I know it's a real building. I
It's not
certainly
one of the
couldn't
buildings.
Do you have
see
this
it.
information, girlfriend?
The information I have is exactly as I've told you. It is the, quote, new Rover 800 Fastback. The missing word was fastback, and I think that in England, nähen Sie es.
They call it.
They name it Fastback.
Oh, very
So-
good. Well done, Dave Stebbings. Well done, Richard Porter.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I peaked too early now because it was a question basically about a crummy old British car. I'm going to be lost from now on. Unless they're all about crummy old British cars and the way they were advertised in the 80s.
Okay, let's find out. So, the next question has 3 blanks. And we're looking straight down the exhaust pipes and see that of Nelson Piquet's Ford V8 engines spent gases.
Can we have that again?
Yeah.
Something.
And
Nelson
we're looking
Piquet's spent
down.
gases.
And we're looking straight down the exhaust pipes and see the of Nelson Piquet's Ford V8 engines spent gases.
Burning exhaust. No.
Is this, and this is a stab in the dark,
Is it Murray Walker?
Murray Walker is what I was going to say.
Sorry to cut in, but
It sounds so Murray Walker.
It's apparently a
And we're
classic
looking
Murrayism.
Down at the exhaust pipes of Nelson Piquet's. He said it a bit like that,
Okay, yeah,
but
we-
what did he say?
We're looking down the exhaust pipes
And see the
and see the blank, blank, blank.
It's going to be something to do with flames or fiery exhaust gas.
That's so close.
I don't know what they.
Fiery, correct.
I'm awarded with 1 point for fire.
And did you say flame or something?
Well, no,
Did you
it was
say
fire,
flame?
I was fiery exhaust gases,
Yeah.
but gases was in the
Okay,
rest
fiery
of it.
red flame. But I think Zog was pretty close there because you didn't know it.
Does Stebbings tell us exactly where this is from?
James Hunt famously corrects him, saying, "No, Murray, that's his rear safety light." During the Canadian Grand Prix in 1990.
Wow.
I remember that.
Very good.
So we've got fiery red flame as the missing words, but which car?
A McLaren MP4.
With a Ford
Brabham.
V8.
Oh, hell.
Nelson Piquet.
Sorry.
1990.
Williams, maybe?
No, not at all.
Was he-
1990 PK was in Benetton.
It says Benetton B190.
190.
So, next round. The quote is, "So what you're saying is your adopted grandmother's house was impenetrable to anything except cars." So what you're saying is your adopted grandmother's house was impenetrable to anything except cars.
Racing cars?
He's not talking about Wayne Mansion. He's not talking about the Batmobile, the only way to get into.
You're very
the
far
Batcave.
from what it was.
Is this to do with an accident in which a car crashed into a house?
Yeah, see, I just keep
It's
thinking
a
of,
lot closer to
Pulp
home
Fiction.
than you're all thinking.
Oh.
Okay, one of you said it.
Is the grandmother important?
What? Which? What?
When? How? Where?
Grandmother's house. Your grandmother.
One of you said it.
What?
On Gareth Jones on Speed.
What? Just now, or sometime?
At some point in the past.
One of us. What? This
is one of our quotes.
One of us.
Right, so was it shit cars? I think I said it was about Gareth's grandma and the Ford Fusion.
Pretty good, yes, absolutely.
I think when Gareth was saying that the
what
main
was that
bonus
again?
of the Ford Fusion was that it could crest a particularly tricky
Yes.
driveway.
Yes.
And then we had an argument about whether that was the reason enough to commend a car, and I said it wasn't, and you said that it might be. Probably then we just played the music and the show was over. Is that right?
Yeah. As discussed in Gareth Jones on Speed number 163, if you want to go back and check that.
Well, what was the answer then? Was it?
The answer, anyone? What Richard might have said?
It was probably cars, wasn't it? We'd have
No,
believed
it was
cheap.
No, it was awful.
Awful cars.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave Stebbings pays more attention to what we say than even we do.
Oh, my
Actually,
God,
everybody-
foreign listener!
Okay, next round. It's a quick one,
Yep.
so listen up. Quick to the
Batmobile.
thank you. And
Why wasn't that
which
Batmobile?
car? Which car?
Well, it was the one that was designed based on the Ford Futura concept, wasn't it? Lincoln Futura concept.
Yep, you got it.
And the guy who did the... Oh, what was his name?
Barris.
But beat me to it.
The next quote is as follows. Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am Speed. 1 winner, 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Breakfast? Maybe I should have had breakfast. Brekkie would be good for me. No. Focus. Speed. Faster than fast. Quicker than quick. I am...
Mental.
Talking to myself.
Doing a voiceover for a film.
Yes. Is it?
It is from a film, and you've all
Cars.
seen it. Yep.
I am Lightning McQueen.
I am Lightning. Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
That was a lucky guess. About that sequence. Is that when he's in the final?
In the rain.
Do I look like Dave Stebbings?
You look like. Well, we don't know what Dave
we've never
Stebbings
met
looks like.
Dave, but I'm guessing he doesn't have breasts. I mean, just thinking of the whole Dave thing, probably. So,
Is Dave Stebbings a real person, or is it just you under an assumed name?
Rat.
Violet does spend anything up to 18 hours a day watching films about cars. So like these things, so I guess it is. Yeah.
Password locked documents. I've never heard such preposterous lies.
And the next quote is, I rang up JK, who's got one, and said, can we borrow yours? And he said, yeah, if I can borrow your... because it amounts to the same thing.
Jeremy Clarkson.
I know the answer.
Jeremy Clarkson brought out which part about.
Garney, Veyron, borrow your wife, girlfriend, daughter, borrow your daughter. Has he got a Zonda? No, what did he have? He had.
Oh no!
I'll give you a clue.
It
Can
was
I
a
give him a
Ferrari
clue? Is that right?
250 short wheelbase.
Oh.
No. I'll give you a clue. JK wouldn't lend this car. Another musician did. But in return for something else.
Oh, I know.
Did
It was
Nick
an
Mason-
Enzo. You're talking about the drummer out of Pink Floyd.
Nick
Mason.
He plugged his book. And we got into a load of
Fair
trouble
enough.
because that was done as a joke. It still broke BBC rules. Fucking things.
Are you saying the BBC doesn't really have a sense of humour about things?
Well, we're doing rather well against Dave Stebbings this time, aren't
Yes,
we?
take that,
much
Stebbings.
more true.
Unless the final quote is from another fictional TV programme. Where it's, oh, yeah, no, what? You've never watched the Swedish drama series Skulben?
Are you ready for the final question? Okay, now this, I think you're all going to get quite quickly, so let's see who gets it first. On your marks, get set, be careful, It's just had a new coat of paint.
Is
Bond? Be careful, Bond. Is it?
Yes, but what's the car?
DB5.
What's the missing word also?
Mr. Bond.
It's not Bond.
007?
Oh, the missing word isn't Bond.
Oh,
007.
007.
It's Bond film is what I meant. So
Oh, right.
007, yeah.
Okay, introduced in Goldfinger, wasn't it? So if it was damaged in Goldfinger and it then made a new appearance in... No, it wasn't in Frost with Love, I don't think.
David in Goldfinger, you say?
I think it's David in Goldfinger.
Thunderball was preceding that. What was after Goldfinger? What was the first film after Goldfinger?
I thought it was from Rush with Love, but...
I thought it was, but I don't think it was in Frost with Love, so...
Probably taken them like 3 or 4 years to repaint it. Maybe it was more recent. Maybe it was GoldenEye.
He probably messed it up pretty good.
Yeah, it's true. He did crash it into a wall.
Live and Let Die, I don't know.
No, hang on, it wasn't GoldenEye, was it?
You're meant to be telling me the name of the car, the type of car.
Oh, well, we're all saying Aston
We're all saying
Martin
Aston
DB5,
DB5.
I think.
And you're telling us we're wrong.
That's just not the answer here.
Okay, so we're wrong.
But it does say Aston Martin.
Who? Oh, Vanquish? No.
Okay, in which case, on Manchester Secret Service, and it's
V8.
George Lazenby picking up...
Well, it was a DBS, I think, for the old DBS.
Yeah.
That became the V8.
Okay, you've got Aston Martin V8, but then it goes on to say something else, and it wasn't Lazenby.
Vantage? Is it from one of the Dalton films?
It's a kind of Volante.
That's convertible, then. Does it say which film?
Yes.
Is it Living Daylight?
Yes.
Yes, it is. It's on the Dolphin.
It's called Oscar India.
Which are a bit forgettable.
Oh, we're getting very
something?
deep, yes, but let's not get bogged down in that.
Okay.
The Dalton ones are a bit forgettable, I think.
Living Daylight is alright, but License to Kill was dreadful, I thought.
He was a nice Welsh Bond, though.
License to Kill.
The Dave Stebbings Car Quotes Quiz.
When he said it was about car quotes, I was expecting it can have any colour as long as it's
blank.
Yeah, exactly. That's
or this car's for going, not for...
Yes, exactly.
Stop it, yeah. Those quotes. Basically, he's been watching television again more than we do.
Yes.
But we won anyway.
But that's okay. It gave us a good quiz, and we did okay. So
we won, yeah.
Thank you, Dave Stebbings. Thank you very much for our annual Christmas quiz, a tradition. I appreciate that. If you've got any ideas for things that you might like to send Gareth Jones on Speed, send them to Dave Stebbings. You've been listening to the Speedmas special. Before we go, we have 2 things to do. One is to announce that for the first time in a billion years on the show, we've got a competition.
Win with Gareth Jones on Speed. It's competition time.
You can win not only a Mercedes-Benz AMG Patronus racing baseball cap, everyone say ooh, ooh, but you also get an actual bit of a Mercedes-Benz AMG Patronus Formula 1 car. I kid you not. Bit of carbon fibre, bit of the aluminium honeycomb mounted in a lovely box with a certificate of verification. We've got 2 of these to give away. Now, to win one, you have to do the following. We want you guys to email us with what? Richard?
Answer us this. Things Michael Schumacher won't be saying next Formula 1 season.
Okay, you're only allowed 1 shot, okay?
One shot, and the winners, there's 2 prizes, so 2 winners, and it's just the ones that make us smile the most.
So if you can come up with something that Michael Schumacher won't be saying next year... Right, not
for
what he will say, what he definitely won't
he
be
might
saying.
still be saying for sure, because he can do that in his free time. Probably less than he has this year.
Stick it in an email, keep it simple, make us laugh, and the funniest 2 will get these prizes. The email address to send it to is onspeed@garethjones.TV, and this competition, because we're kind and it's Christmas, will be over. We'll close it on January the 30th, okay? So plenty of time for you to get your entry in to win this fabulous prize. Email us at onspeed@garethjones.tv with what you think Michael Schumacher and Lisa Jackson, Michael Schumacher won't be saying next year. Stick in the subject line Schumacher quiz.
Not Michael Jackson quiz.
No, not Michael Jackson. No, that would probably get
would be
intercepted anyway, yeah. And you've got until January the 30th, 2013 to get it to us, okay? So email away, make us laugh. Before we go, hopes for the future. Zog, hopes for the future, 2013?
Actually, inspired by Richard's earlier musings on Kamui Kobayashi, I'm going to hope to win the lottery, get myself funds to run not a Bugatti Veyron, but a Bugatti Type 34 for a while. How about that?
Set your standards high, Zog. Set your standards high. V, do you have any hopes for the future?
Which one?
Which future? Are you in a multiverse?
I live in the multiverse.
We're all in. There's a question.
Richard, your hopes for the future?
I'd like to go on holiday to Violet's Multiverse. Sounds interesting.
It's
and,
nice, huh?
I would like Zog to win the lottery so that I can have a go in his Bugatti.
You're welcome to come on.
Peace on earth, goodwill to all men, and also I would like a
pony.
I'd like an end to this sentence. I would like a pony, but not a Hyundai pony. That would be awful.
My hope for the future is that Kobayashi does join Toyota's Le Mans team and gives Audi a good old run at the world's greatest motor race in June of 2013. That would be brilliant.
I'll drink to that.
Sounds good, yeah.
So can I wish everyone a merry Speedmas? Merry Speedmas, everyone! And see you for Gareth Jones on Speed, season, or perhaps that should be series 9. Bye.
You can't drink a triangle.
What are you going to do with that?
Well, you all had drinks and I simply
like
had a triangle, so it seemed rude not to.
To send us an email, see pictures, get song lyrics, join our Facebook fan site, follow us on Twitter, or to find out about sponsorship opportunities, go to garethjones.tv. Gareth Jones on Speed is made in London by Whiz Bang.
Gareth Jones on Speed!